Alright YouTube, what is going on? It is HighTower5000 here today, bringing you the World Wakes quest guide. The quest requirements for this quest are technically none, however, to get the full reward and to make the quest easy on yourself, it is recommended that you do have 100 or higher combat, completed the Ritual of Mahjarrat, completed the Firemaker's Curse, completed the Branches of Darkmeyer, completed the Void Stairs Back, and also completed the Chosen Commander. Technically there are no items required for this quest, however you do need to bring along a lot of food and good food at that, so i.e. rocktails. You can also use Saradomin and Brews and super restores, however. You also want to go ahead and bring yourself a good weapon plus strong armor as well. We're going to be doing a lot of combat in this quest, so make sure you have a good setup. It needs to be a range or a magic setup. Bottom line is, you can go ahead and do melee, but you're going to struggle so much, so go ahead and choose a range or magic setup. In this guide I went for range. Wikipedia says bring you logs along, not really at all sure why. Make sure you have a set in your bank for some reason if you need them. I didn't have to use them, but I've heard that some people in some of their dialogue do need them for some reason, so bring one just in case. I had mine in my inventory, but you can just leave it in the bank. For the bosses you're also going to need to bring supersets or overloads along with some super prayer renewals or just normal prayer potions. Finally, once you're ready, you want to make your way to the quest start point, which is to the west of Legends Guild, which is shown on screen. One very quick note, I do apologise if there's a tiny bit of background noise in this. I've tried to remove it as best as possible, but hopefully you will not notice it. So once you're at the quest start point, you want to go ahead and speak with Orlando Smith. Select option number 1, what are you up to here? Select option number 1, so just need me to open the doors. And then you'll get the quest prompt. Go ahead and accept the quest. And then we're good to go. So what you want to do is go ahead and open up the ancient doors to your east. And then you'll go into a short cutscene. Continue through the dialogue, and then you'll land up in this room here. So in this room there is 6 artifacts which you need to go ahead and investigate. One of these is on the table, the Shattered Blades. In the southeastern corner there is also a dusty parchment which you want to go ahead and investigate. In the middle of the room, on the floor, there is some scattered parchments which you need to go ahead and investigate. In the northeastern corner, there are some clouded vials which you need to go ahead and investigate. To the north of the room, you'll see some footprints, which is roughly where I'm standing here. Go ahead and investigate these. These lead from the north down into the middle of the room. You then want to go ahead and investigate the obelisk in the northwestern corner. You then want to go ahead and investigate the stone carvings which are up against the northern wall. That will be you investigated all 6 different artifacts, and the door to the next room will now open. So you want to make your way through to the eastern room which has just opened up for you. And then you'll arrive in here. You want to go ahead and investigate the Guthix statue which is right in front of you. So once you're done playing around with the statue, the next room will now open up. Once you're ready, you want to enter into the room. Orlando Smith will follow you in and you just want to continue through the chat. Then out of the wall, some automations will start to appear. These automations will then start to chat to you. You want to continue through the chat and then you're going to get into some combat with them. Now do note there is a warning here. These can kill you very quickly with their special attacks if you are too close, so you want to keep a little bit of difference. This is why you're either using a range or a magic setup, which I specified at the start of the video. Relatively easy kills, to be honest. Just make sure you keep your distance and you'll be fine, so good luck. And once all of those are killed, you'll then go back into another cutscene and Sleesk will appear. Go ahead and just continue through the dialogue. Select option number 2, how can I be sure you're Guthix? Select option number 2, how do you know this? And then select option number 1, okay then. You'll then be teleported away with Sleesk. You'll then go into a cutscene which you just want to go ahead and skip through. This cutscene is extremely long. Select option number 1, what do you gain from telling me this? Select option number 2, so how do I come into this? Select option number 1, I already know my decision. And then option number 2, I better get going then. Go ahead and just continue through the dialogue. So it'll now be you and Krill just left alone in this room. Go ahead and speak with her and the fight is now about to start. So do note you can die in this. I've already died. If you cannot tell, my inventory's already changed. What you need to do is go ahead and drink up. So superset if you want to go ahead and do so, which I highly recommend doing. Turning on prayers like Turmoil and Soul Split is a good idea, or Protects. He mainly attacks, it seems to be magic and range to be honest, so just go ahead and if you want to prayer flick from them. The tornadoes are the biggest thing in this here though. Do not, and I mean do not, go ahead and get affected by the tornadoes, because the tornadoes can fuck you up very, very quickly. If there's a few of them around you, you need to go ahead and move, because you can go from full health points to no health points in about 2 seconds. That's literally what happened to me. I was absolutely acing this boss fight and then all of a sudden I was down a lot of health. As you can see there, I lost quite a bit. Just make sure you're also not right beside him. Go ahead and continuously move around the room, just a few tiles every so often, because if you stand too still for too long, then the tornadoes will all sort of gather around you and trap you in and take you for a lot of health points, which is something you really just want to go ahead and avoid. So just do what I'm doing, basically just go ahead and get a few hits in and then move on to another part of the room. Overall though, it's actually quite easy. You can go ahead and use some, I guess, safe spots. You can go ahead and hide behind the statues and use the plants to your advantage. Every so often, in the middle of the room, what will happen is he will summon all of his tornadoes. You just go ahead and ignore that and get yourself ready for the next attack which he's going to produce. And then after all that, you will land up going into a cutscene. Just continue through the dialogue and chat and that'll be that boss and room completed. So you'll now arrive in this room here with a mechanism which we need to go ahead and solve. So you want to run around to the eastern side of the room and there should be a control panel which you want to go ahead and activate, and we're going to go ahead and change the pattern in the middle of the room here. So you just want to continue through the chat here with death. Select option number 2, I need to get to Guthix. Then go ahead and turn around and activate the control panel once more, and then you'll get this interface here. So for this first puzzle, there's going to be 4 here which we need to go ahead and solve, and basically we need to go ahead and dispense a ball from one of the 4 corners into the light green hole which you can see on the board. So for this first one, you want to go ahead and copy exactly what I've got right here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be dispensing a ball from the top right hand corner into the middle, which you can see the light greenish hole. I'm going to walk you through it all, so do not worry. Just make sure you have a board set up very similar to mine anyway. If you get it wrong, it's not a problem. All will happen is the ball will disappear and you'll just have to restart. So to start this, we're going to release a boulder which is in the top right corner. Go ahead and do that and a ball will drop down into the arena. So it's going to stop at a gate which you need to go ahead and open when the piece of track is continuing on with the pipe, i.e. is north, south, up, down, straight like so. So you can go ahead and click on the gates to go ahead and release the ball, and that will allow it to go through nice and easy. It'll then get to another gate in a second. Now what you need to do here is the section below it, the 3 tiles are arrows. These are speed boosts. You need to make sure they're facing down the way when you open the gate so the ball can continue in the right direction. As you can see, the arrows are facing down the way, so I've gone ahead and opened the gates and released the ball, and the ball has continued on. Again, the ball is stopped at this gate. I'm just going to wait for this piece to go ahead and rotate and realign, and it's going to continue on until this green bit here where it's going to go ahead and take the ball in, and that is the first part complete. So for the second puzzle, you want to go ahead and see what I've got on screen. You can tell that this time basically we're going to be going from the bottom right hand corner up to the top left hand corner where there is a little hole for a ball to go in. So what we're going to do this time, once you've got something very similar to mine, you need to go ahead and release the boulder dispenser from the bottom right hand corner this time, and the ball will come into play. The ball's eventually going to stop at a gate. You want to go ahead and just release the ball when the arrows are facing the correct direction towards the left, and the ball will eventually roll into a hole up in the top left of the board. That is part 2 of 4 now complete. So for this third puzzle, you want to go ahead and pause the screen once more and go ahead and copy what I have got. This time we're going to be going from the top left corner, and we're going to be going to the green hole in the middle. So once you've got a setup like mine, you want to go ahead and release the boulder from the dispenser in the top left hand corner, and then the ball will continue to roll through. It will get stopped at a gate near enough off the start. Just wait for the piece to go ahead and be in the right position, and then let the ball continue. And then the ball should just roll into place, and that will now be the third puzzle complete. So for this final puzzle, you want to have a rough setup of what I've got going on here. We're going to be going from the bottom left hand corner to the mid right hand side where we can see the green hole. So once you're ready, go ahead and release a boulder from the dispenser in the bottom left hand corner. You want to go ahead and open gates when appropriate to continue the ball's path. And there we go, that is the 4th out of 4th puzzle now complete. You'll then get into some more conversation with Juna, which you want to go ahead and skip through, and then that'll be the next room unlocked. At this stage you have the chance to go ahead and skip the cutscene. I highly recommend it because it is like 5 to 10 minutes long. Go ahead and just continue through the chat, and you'll find yourself basically walking through this corridor. Just continue on for the time being. So what you want to do is you want to make your way to the very far east of the room, and you should come across a strange map which we need to go ahead and get some use of. So go ahead and view it. It should be up against the wall. And we have 4 pillars and this interface which we need to go ahead and solve. So I've gone ahead and put a link on screen and a link down below. The reason for this is because there's no actual way I could get all the information on screen. There's just way too much. You're going to go ahead and use this link and continue to use my guide side by side. So basically we're going to go ahead and look at this phrase. So as you can see, mine starts off with, yours might be a little bit different. You find a world without balance, chaos triumphs and violence is rife. The Naragi, inhabitants of this world, fight over limited resources. Go ahead and hit next, and that should be, you should basically get options once you finish your quote. Yours might be the same as mine, yours might be different. But going ahead and looking at this link, you'll be able to find your quote. Now what we need to do is go ahead and fill up this chaos, this order, this good, this evil, all to 50%, all to these tiny wee white lines, and make sure that it's all perfectly balanced. So going ahead and using the link which I've told you to visit, then go ahead and find your question. As I said, we need to get them all to 50%, so it's really up to you how you actually go ahead and do this, but you need to go ahead and try and get them all to 50%, so you need to choose an appropriate answer here. So right now, as we're starting off, there's no really appropriate answer, so I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. So I've got order and good up to 25%, which is not too bad. So the next one for me is, soon a young warlord begins to gain power, earning respect through fear, so on and so forth. I can basically tell that from the first sentence. So for this one, I'm going to be looking for an answer which has got 25% chaos and 25% evil, just so I can go ahead and balance the playing fields. And by looking at the graph, I can go ahead and tell that there is an answer which I can go ahead and select. So looking at my question here, this is my question which I'm currently answering. So as I said, I wanted chaos and I also wanted evil. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and select the option fully back her. So if we go back to the game very quickly, fully back her, that's going to increase my chaos and evil percentages. Go ahead and do this for the next few questions which you get. Again, yours will be different, so I'm not going to spoon feed you. Use that link, use that table, and just go ahead and make sure you get them all to 50%. If you fail to get them to 50%, then you'll basically just have to restart. It's not much of a problem or issue. So once you've done that and got all 4 pillars to halfway up, then you just want to go ahead and select the continue option, and then you'll get a bit of dialogue which you want to go ahead and continue through. At this stage here, it doesn't matter what option you can select any one you want to. Select option number 2, appeal to the group's loyalty to Guthix, and then select option number 3. And then you'll be given this interface here. We need to go ahead and now solve this puzzle. So for this, we need to go ahead and complete this puzzle. So look at your symbols. You want to go ahead and match up your symbols, which could be in a different order, with the select people which I'm going to go ahead and choose. So this symbol, which looks like a H, I'm going to go ahead and assign these 2 people to. For a symbol which looks like a 1 with a dash through it, I'm going to go ahead and assign that person. For the symbol which looks like a B, I'm going to go ahead and assign the person with the hood. And then finally, the one without a cross through it, I'm going to go ahead and assign the remaining symbol. So with that done, Juna will then go ahead and start to talk to you. Go ahead and then re-speak with Juna. Go ahead and select option number 1, I finished setting up. And then select option number 1, I'm happy with the formation for now. You'll then go into a cutscene. Once all the dialogue is finished and you've finished chatting, there should just be a well of water right in front of you which you want to go ahead and drink from. So for this next part of the quest, we're going to go ahead and be defeating 4 different bosses. So at this stage, if you need to go ahead and go to the bank, go ahead and do so. Do note that these deaths that are possibly about to come up are not safe. If you do die, then your gravestone will end up just being at the quest start point, so you can go get your items back really easily. So for this first fight, you're going to make your way over to this room here, which is sort of the H symbol. This is to the west-northwest, here with Theorisk and also Chaeldar, I think. Once you're ready, you want to go ahead and enter into the storage wing, and then select option number 1, yes, I'm sure, let's go. So for Grardor, there are a few things that you do need to note. His special attacks. His special attacks are that he reflects your damage when he shouts Grardor protect. So that means when he goes ahead and says that, stop attacking him. Go ahead and focus on yourself, go ahead and repot up, go ahead and regenerate your health points, just do not attack him, because that's only going to make the situation worse. For Gardor Mad, if he says it Gardor Mad, then do not stand in front of him when he shouts. He can hit you for 2,000 to 3,000 hit points. So you just want to make sure that you're sort of keeping your distance, which you should be able to anyway with a magic and ranged weapon. Finally, there is going to be falling debris. When he says guard or smash, this is basically very similar to the dungeoneering room. You just need to go ahead and spam click and sort of avoid the shadows where the debris is falling down. Overall, that's not too difficult, and if you do get caught, you only get taken for about 500 hit points. But that is per debris, so if you're not moving very fast, then you could get hit quite a bit. Part of that, I would just say going ahead and continue to move around the room pretty much non-stop. Even whatever he's saying, I think that's the best thing to do. Just to pay attention though to what he is saying, especially for the protect one, and you'll be fine. Go ahead and just monitor your health points, your prayer points, and you should be good. And then eventually you'll be able to go ahead and kill the general. So just continue through the chat once that happens. Once that overkey will disappear, and that is your cue to go ahead and exit back through the door to the south, because that is that room now complete. So when you exit the room, you'll go into a small cutscene and you'll hear another door shaking. Do note when you come out there is now a bank here, so you can go ahead and get more supplies if you would like to, and I highly suggest it because some of these combat fights are extremely difficult. So we're now going to go ahead and move on to the next room. So you want to make your way to the very northwest, and you're going to go ahead and see Krill. You're going to go ahead and enter into his storage wing. So when you're entering the room, you just want to continue through the chat and select option number 1, yes, let's go. You'll then enter into the room and you'll be with Zemouregal, which once the dialogue finishes, you will then land up going ahead and start attacking. Some things which I'd recommend you know are that it's probably best to protect from magic in this room. However, you can go ahead and choose something different if you feel that that's maybe not working out for you. Start off by killing the 2 dark portals. The dark portals, while they're there, they will basically prevent you from causing any damage on Zemouregal. So once those 2 are down, you can go ahead and attack Zemouregal as much as possible until more dark portals appear. At one stage, 4 will appear. Roughly in between 50 and 70% of our life points have been taken away. That will happen. Then just go ahead and kill those other 4 dark portals, and then just go ahead and finish Zemouregal off. There will be these things called the king portals which will spawn. You don't need to worry about them. Also, goblins will, armored goblins, they'll attack you. However, you're in there to go ahead and just kill Zemouregal, so basically just move to another part of the room, and then I guess your teammates will go ahead and deal with the armored zombies, so you won't have to. Bar that, it's actually a really easy fight. I mean, Zemouregal doesn't hit hard at all. It might just take you a little while to kill Zemouregal. So once you get Zemouregal down to 0 XP, you'll end up going through a little bit of chat, just continue it, and then you can go ahead and turn off your prayers. Zemouregal will then retreat back out the room to the north, and that is our cue to go ahead and leave the room to the south, and that is our second room now complete. Do note at this stage you can go ahead and bank if you want to go ahead and get yourself some more goodies. So when you're ready for the next room, make your way over to death, and then you want to enter into the storage wing behind. Continue through the chat and select option number 1, yes, I'm sure, let's go. So in this room we're going to be defeating Krill, Tuts, Aroth. For this you need to be aware of some special attacks. So when you get into the room, first of all, I'd recommend going ahead and putting on prayers. Now, this is much more of a tank fight, so it's going to be a long fight. He doesn't really hit too high, but there are the special attacks which you do need to definitely be aware of. For me, it took me a very long time, and I skipped forward a lot of it just because I'm very weak and I wasn't hitting my shots too well. But be prepared for that. Be prepared to go through near enough all your inventory of food because it's going to be a longish fight. Anyway, so the 3 things that you do need to be aware of, the special attacks, are when he shouts you cannot stand against the Zamorakian might. Avoid the spikes that spawn under you. So for this you basically need to continue to move around. When he says that, you need to move instantly or you'll start getting hit pretty much for 1k every single second. Also, when he says run coward, he'll basically go ahead and start to charge forwards. Simply just move out the way. Make sure you don't actually are directly in front of him if you can avoid it, and with magic and range you can probably do this. What would happen if you do get caught is you get pinned up against the wall and you'd lose some health. Then if he goes ahead and shouts Guthix will die in the name of Zamorak, he will basically consistently run at you and go wild with his swords very rapidly. Now this is a strange one because you just want to basically move around the room spam clicking to avoid it. However, graphically and animation wise it looks like he'll be hitting you, but as long as you're constantly moving until he slows down, then you will be fine. So one thing I did notice is that I found it difficult at the start anyway to read the messages because this boss is so tall. The messages are obviously going to be above his head height, so you might need to go ahead and rotate your camera a little bit just to a higher viewpoint so you can go ahead and see when he's going ahead and shouting out one of these chants. Bar that, just go ahead and keep an eye on your health points, prayer as usual, and then you should be fine. Good luck. And once you land up getting him down to 0 health, you'll get a little bit of chat, and then what will happen is we will be victorious and he will walk off, exit the room to the north. That is our cue to go ahead and turn off our prayers and then exit through the door to the south, and that is 3 of 4 bosses complete. Again, if you need to go ahead and bank and get some more supplies before we enter into the final room. So once you're ready for the final room, go ahead and try to enter into it. This is the room to the very southwest. Then you'll arrive in here and you'll be fighting in Akra. So you want to go ahead and just continue through the chat, and then you want to go ahead and get the fight started. So this fight is going to be quite an interesting one. So defeating an Akra isn't as easy as you may think. So there's things that you need to note about an Akra are that she will constantly steal from your health throughout the fight. This means that the lower your health is, the less she will heal. So I'm going to talk about that bullet point more in a second. It's really the key to the whole fight. If she begins to steal your health, then you can actually go ahead and hide behind the obstacle and use that as, I guess, a blockade. I didn't do that, but that's a very, very useful thing to do and can speed the fight up quite a bit. Try to stay below roughly about 2,000 health points. So what I was doing here was, I was literally staring. I wasn't looking at the screen because there was no need. I was literally just looking at my hit point bar. Literally waiting to just see it go so low, then I'd go ahead and eat a rock tail, and then I'd repeat that. Now that worked out quite well because the amount that an Akra could actually heal, I was mainly anyway going ahead and overwriting with my attack, so slowly but surely I did land up taking off our full health points and getting her killed, but it did take a long time and it felt much more like a tank fight again. It didn't really feel like one of these ones which required too much skill. Literally I just stared at my hit points bar, and you'll see that on screen right now. The one other thing to note actually is on the occasion she'll go ahead and tackle you and stun you. If you are using EOC, then you can go ahead and use the freedom capability, which can get you free from that, but you're only stunned for about 2 seconds. However, there is a disadvantage to that. If you are on low health, then it can be a bit of an issue. It's an interesting fight, this one. Just really monitor your health and you'll sort of see, you'll get a feel for it when you actually go into the fight. At the start I was really overeating, to be honest, and it didn't really work out for me at all, but as I got to the end of the fight I definitely picked up a rhythm and did quite well. One thing is possible to do actually in general is to go ahead and just use prayers for this. So if you're hitting a lot, why don't you just go ahead and wait for your hit points basically to drop down to about 1,000, then activate soul splits, and then that should hopefully go ahead and carry you through. Unfortunately I wasn't hitting hard enough for that to work for me, but someone with maybe a higher combat or a better setup would be able to do that, so using soul split as well is a good idea, and maybe going ahead and using a prayer like turmoil as well would help you out going forward in this fight. And then once you get an Akra down to 0 XP, then an Akra will give in. She will then disappear off to the north. We're going to go ahead and go back through the door to the south, and that is the 4th out of 4th room done. So you're going to come back into the main room here and you're going to find that there's lots of people attacking each other, which is not good. So you need to go ahead and speak with Cress. So if you make your way back up to your north, and then Cress should be sort of on the platform in the middle of the room. You then want to go ahead and speak with Juna once you are finished speaking with Cress. Juna is just over to your east. So what you need to do is go ahead and basically kill everyone which is coming through the portal, which is kind of frustrating. So for this, go ahead and select your prayers and use them wisely. Unfortunately, there's no opportunity to bank. So you need to go ahead and fill up the time lasted bar and make sure Juna doesn't die. Shouldn't be too difficult, to be honest, but you just need to go ahead and try attack everyone and basically just tank out this stage. They don't have too much damage, to be fair. This stage is more just tanking. Just go ahead and attack as many people as you can and make sure that Juna's health does not drop too much. And then eventually, once the time-lasted bar is completed, you'll get a cutscene. You can go ahead and watch this cutscene, however, again, it is extremely long, so I'm going to just go ahead and skip it. So once that is done, you want to go ahead and speak to Azanadara, which is right in front of you. At this stage here, you've got a choice who you want to go ahead and side with. Just continue through the chat once you've made your options. And then after all that, there should now be a shattered wall which you want to go ahead and enter through to the east. So for this next part, you need to go ahead and run down the path and avoid the boulders and flames. Just time yourself with the boulders because they can hit you really hard. I ended up dying at that stage. If you also get trapped in between ice spikes, click on them and they will break. Easy enough. You just want to continue in an eastern direction. Once you reach a platform, there's a cutscene which you can go ahead and skip if you want to. So once you've skipped or watched the cutscene, then you need to go ahead and make your way down the stairs, which is just to your east, and then you need to make your way down towards Guthix. Once you arrive here, we will be right beside Guthix and go ahead and just get into a conversation, continue through the dialogue, and then your screen will go blank. Continue through the dialogue. So on your minimap, you'll see the yellow dot. Guthix is basically going to continue to teleport about this part of the map, so you just need to go ahead and trace his routes to where he is and then just continue to talk to him. When you get the 3 options again, it's really up to you what you choose. So once you finish that bit of conversation, you'll go back into conversation with everyone we were speaking with. Go ahead and select the appropriate option. And then just go ahead and choose whatever you want. Your screen will then go blank again, and then you'll have another cutscene which you can skip or watch. Once you're finished with that cutscene, Saradomin will appear. Go ahead and speak with him. Once you get to the options, go ahead and select any option you want. He will then disappear, then you'll go into a conversation with Juna. Go ahead and speak through with her, and then that should be the quest then completed. Do note that you will need 10 free inventory slots for this, just due to all the rewards. And there we go, that's the quest complete. So congratulations, you've completed the World Wakes. You're rewarded with 3 quest points, 250,000 XP in a prayer lamp with 80 prayer, 110,000 XP in Slayer lamp with 70 Slayer, 3 100k lamps usable in 3 individual skills which are above level 75, 3 50k XP lamps usable on a combat skill above level 65, and also a load of other benefits. Thank you very much for watching this quest guide. Please leave a like, rating, subscribe if you are new around here. Go down into the description below and check out my other quest series playlist, where I'm sure I'll be able to help you out with another quest. And that is all pretty much for this video. To get out of there, just continue the last piece of dialogue and you'll end up back on the Gielinor surface. That's all for this video, so thank you very much for watching. My name is HighTower5000 and I'm out.